It was a Friday evening, and I figured I'd relax with my lovely wife after a long week working on the flight line. After 22 years of marriage, our 3 kids were now living on their own, giving us some space. I thought maybe we could go out and enjoy a nice evening together. My name is David Collins, a mild-mannered A&P mechanic and crew chief handling arrivals and departures for United Airlines day shift. After 25 years of working less than ideal shifts, I was finally on a more normal schedule. My wife, Judith Collins, worked as a charge nurse in labor and delivery on the day shift at Central Hospital. We were both making good money, with me earning just a bit more, thanks to the union. We were comfortably upper middle class. I parked the pickup in its usual spot in the garage and shut the door. If we were going somewhere fancy, we'd take her Lincoln Navigator. If it was country western night, then my F-250 would be our ride. But the night's plans were up to her, as they usually were. That was fine by me. If Mama's happy, Daddy's thrilled. I started going through the mail on the kitchen table after coming in from the garage, and I heard footsteps on the stairs along with some noises from upstairs. My stunning 42-year-old wife walked into the living room, wearing a short robe that always brought a smile to my face. "Oh," she exclaimed, "you're early. I wasn't expecting you for another hour." I checked my watch and realized I was early, but not by much. "What's going on?" I asked. "Where are we going?" She smiled and said, "Well, I'm going out." "Not sure what you're doing." Instantly, my weekend plans started falling apart. "What do you mean, you're going out? Where, and with whom?" Her eyes flickered over to a small overnight bag sitting on the end of the couch. "I've got a date with William Strathmore. I'll be gone for the weekend, back Sunday night, and we'll talk about it then." "What the hell? Did I hear that right?" My wife turned and hurried upstairs, slamming the door behind her. "The hell you will," I muttered to myself. My first instinct was to call in backup. Grabbing my phone, I speed-dialed my daughter. There was no way I was going to let this turn into a he said, she said situation. When she answered cheerfully, "Hello, Daddy, what's up?" I responded by dumping the contents of her mother's purse onto the coffee table. "Get over here now, your mother's hurt her head, and we need you." I hung up before she could ask any more questions. Next, I called my eldest son, delivering the same message, and told him to contact his brother to come quickly. I ended the call with a lot of confusion on his end. Then I rang her parents, giving them the same story. They were equally baffled, and I could hear yelling as I hung up. Judith's purse had the usual contents: credit cards, keys, a 12-pack of condoms. I had a vasectomy, so that raised red flags right away. I also found an email confirmation from the Marriott Hotel in Kenworth for rooms 703 through 710. "The hell you will," I repeated under my breath. Judith worked with a pediatric surgeon named William Strathmore. Over the last 5 years, I'd met him a few times at hospital Christmas parties. He struck me as slimy, though his wife was incredibly beautiful. Something about the whole situation felt off, but I pocketed the email for safekeeping. Then, I unlocked Judith's phone. It was easy. Her passcode was our anniversary and the number 3, for our kids. Security, huh? While she was still upstairs, I found the hospital's emergency call list and looked up Dr. Strathmore's home number. His cell wouldn't be useful, but maybe his landline would be. I dialed it, and after 2 rings, someone answered. "Oh, honey, I was waiting for your call. But I don't recognize this number. Is everything okay? Is this Mrs. Strathmore?" I asked. "Yes, who is this?" "This is David Collins. My wife works with your husband at the hospital. I don't know if you remember me." "Of course, Dave. My husband and I were just talking about you and Judith a couple of nights ago. I was expecting a call from William. What can I do for you?" "Is your husband at home?" I asked. "No, he's in Boston for a surgical conference." "Is everything all right?" "Look, Mrs. Strathmore, I'm not sure how to say this, but I don't think things are as they seem. I just had a confrontation with my wife. She told me she's going to the Marriott in Kenworth for the weekend. I've got an email confirmation for 7 rooms from today through Monday." "What? What are you saying?" "I think we're both being lied to," I told her. She took a deep breath and replied, "I've saved your number, Mr. Collins. I'll get back to you." I couldn't take this any longer. While scanning the emergency call list, I found Karen Adams, the hospital's head of HR, and also a friend of my wife's. Her husband was a detective sergeant I knew. I dialed her number, and she answered almost right away. "Hello, who's this?" "Karen, it's David Collins, Judith's husband." There was a pause, and I heard a small gasp. "Yes, Dave. What's going on?" "I think something inappropriate is going on between Dr. Strathmore and my wife. I want this investigated and stopped." "I'm sorry, Dave, I can't talk now. I have to go," she said quickly, hanging up. That was strange. Almost immediately, Judith's phone rang again. With my stomach in knots, I answered. Before I could speak, the caller began, "Judith, he knows. He knows everything. What did you say to him?" I smiled. "Not everything, Ken, but I'm getting close." The shriek on the other end was priceless. Hanging up, I immediately dialed another number. After 4 rings, a man answered. "Look, I don't want to upgrade my cable service." "Jerry," I replied, "sounds like you're having a rough day." "Who is this?" "Dave Collins, Judith's husband." "Ah, it's just telemarketers and spam calls today." "What's up, Dave? Is Karen home?" "No, I'm on babysitting duty this weekend. Karen's at a hospital team-building event in Philly." "Why do you ask?" I took a deep breath and told him everything I had found out. "I think more than just the 3 of them are involved." There was a long silence. Finally, he said, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" "I'm not sure what I'm thinking, but one thing's for certain, she's not leaving here tonight, even if I end up in jail. I'll get back to you if I find anything. Just don't do anything stupid." A few moments later, Judith appeared at the top of the stairs, looking like a high-priced escort in a red silk dress. She spotted her purse emptied on the table. "What the hell? I'm leaving, and you dumped all my stuff out?" She started picking things up, but I shouted, "Oh no, you're not going anywhere. Now sit down and shut up. You don't own me. I can do whatever I want," she yelled. "Is that so?" I responded. "Well, so can I. How about this?" I grabbed the neckline of her dress and ripped it apart, leaving her nearly naked, wearing only an open-cup bra, a lace garter belt, and smoky grey stockings. "This isn't your dress," I told her. "I bought it for our 25th anniversary, along with most of the lingerie you're barely wearing. If you're going anywhere tonight, it won't be in that dress." At that moment, my phone rang. "Hello, Dave, it's Mary Strathmore. I'm sorry to say, but you were right. I called the police and reported the car stolen. I bought it and it's in my name. They pulled him over 5 minutes ago. He tried to claim he was my husband and had a right to drive it." Her voice cracked, but she managed a laugh. "The cops called me right from the traffic stop to let me know what he said. As I heard him in the background, I informed the officers that it was impossible for him to be my husband since mine was currently in Boston. That slimy bastard let out a gasp and demanded a lawyer. Now I had to head down and deal with the situation. He'd been arrested, and the car had been impounded." She added a final line before hanging up, "Tell your wife I'm coming for her next." We had been on speakerphone, and the moment Judith realized who I was talking to, she let out a scream. "What did you do, David? Damn you." And right about that moment, my kids burst through the front door. "Dad, what's going on?" "Mom, are you okay?" asked Dave Jr., my eldest son. My daughter, Haley, rushed over to her mother's side, her concern etched on her face. "Mother, are you all right? What happened to your dress?" Without missing a beat, Judith threw me under the bus. "Your father ripped it." Every set of eyes turned to me, filled with judgment and accusation, but I wasn't about to back down. "Michael, shut the front door," I barked to my second son. "What the hell, Mom? What did you do?" "Tell them, Judith. Go ahead. Why do you have a 12-pack of Trojans in your purse? Are they for water balloons or something?" I demanded. In a voice barely above a whisper, she muttered, "I don't know where they came from, they aren't mine." "And where were you headed? A weekend of fun without your husband, right?" I pressed on, the anger palpable in my voice. I can do whatever I want. It's my body. The moment those words left her lips, Judith seemed to realize the gravity of what she'd just said in front of her children. She stammered, trying to recover. Well, I can. Young Dave rolled his eyes, exasperated, and headed for the kitchen. A few minutes later, he returned holding an envelope. Here, Dad. This is for you. He handed it to me, his gaze never leaving his mother, a look of disdain clear on his face. Judith leaped from the couch, her torn dress falling to the floor as she tried to stop me. Don't read that, she screamed. Haley rushed to help her cover up, but I wasn't about to let her get away with it. Sit down and shut up, Judith, I commanded, opening the letter. The words "my darling husband" were right at the top. It was a note she'd written, obviously planning on giving it to me before she got caught. I'll be helping my sister with our mother this weekend and returning Monday night. Hugs and kisses, Judith. My children exchanged confused glances. It dawned on me that her delusions were unraveling fast, and she hadn't even prepared herself for the mess she was in. Almost on cue, the doorbell rang. Before Michael could even get to it, Judith's parents stormed in. Judith, are you okay? Her mother asked, while her father, his face flushed with anger, bellowed, what's going on here? Judith fainted. Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. Welcome to the chaos, I muttered sarcastically. Your daughter just destroyed our marriage, and probably her career in the process. While her mother and my daughter fussed over Judith, trying to revive her, her father stood there fuming as I brought them up to speed on everything. The room grew colder with each passing second. When Judith finally came to, she was a mess, hysterically pleading for her mother to help her. Help you, her mother spat. How about we call your sister, the one you were supposedly helping? Maybe she can help you now. With that, I handed Judith's father the letter and dialed her sister. When Mavis picked up, I greeted her with a fake sense of calm. Hi, Mavis. How's everything going? How's Mom doing? Oh, she's fine. Judith has been such a big help. I really don't know what I would have done without her. Can I talk to her, please? I asked casually. Well, she's busy right now. How about I have her call you back in a bit? Judith's mother snatched the phone from my hand and snarled into it. That won't be necessary, you simpering fool. Judith crumbled again, practically naked in front of her children and her parents, and her mother ended the call with her sister amidst a flurry of screams. Just then, my phone rang. It was Jerry. His voice was heavy. David, you were right. We got a search warrant for those rooms at the Marriott. We raided them on the missing person warrant I swore out and found 12 people, including my wife. 3 male doctors, 4 female doctors, 4 female nurses, 1 HR team member, and my wife. I'm really sorry, Dave, he added, his voice filled with regret. So am I, Jerry. But thanks. I turned to my soon-to-be ex-wife. Go upstairs, put on something decent, and get the hell out of my house. Judith, defeated and sobbing, pulled herself to her feet and headed upstairs, losing one high heel in the process. The silence in the living room was deafening. My daughter finally broke it. I'll go make sure she doesn't do anything stupid, Daddy. Otherwise, I won't be able to stay disappointed with her for the rest of my life. About half an hour later, Judith came down with a suitcase, dressed in jeans and a sweatshirt, her makeup a smeared mess. As she headed for the door, my eldest son stopped her. Don't worry, Mom. Adrienne and I will plan the wedding around one of your weekends away, not that you'll be invited. Maybe Dad will bring a new girlfriend. Judith froze at the door but lost it again. Her mother ushered her out anyway. She clearly needed help, but that was no longer my concern. You can talk to my lawyer, I said coldly. She loves you, son, I added to my eldest as she left. Funny way of showing it, he replied, shaking his head. It was astounding, really. They all thought they were just consenting adults having a bit of fun until they got caught. It turned out that good old Dr. Strathmore had been using a hospital credit card to pay for the hotel rooms, booze, and food. The hospital tried to cover it up, but when it came out that several of the staff were supposedly on the clock or attending some fake seminar, marriages exploded. This wasn't their first rodeo, but it was going to be their last.